Now turn to Section 4. Section 4. You will hear part of a talk about how to attract birds to your garden. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
The best way to attract birds to your garden is by satisfying their basic needs, which are the need for water, the need for food, and the need for safety. Birds drink water and bathe in it, and many also use it to make mud to build their nests. A simple bird bath, which can be nothing more complicated than a shallow dish, will therefore attract birds. Don't use tin pans, as these get hot under the heat of the sun. In fact, a cement bowl is probably going to be the most effective bath to use. But make sure that it is no more than 6.5 centimetres deep. The best time of all to attract birds to your garden, and indeed the time when they need your help most, is during the winter season. During summer, birds can find most of their food on their own and are largely self-sufficient. In winter, however, they benefit greatly from the help of their human friends. Often, when it is cold, an ice or frost crust may form over the ground, covering the birds' natural food supply. It is when this happens that they really need your help with feeding. It is probably best, though, to start feeding from late autumn onwards. That way the birds will become used to finding food in a certain spot. So later, after the onset of the winter, they will become a permanent feature in your garden. Put food out at night so that the birds will find it the next morning. And whatever you do, make sure that you make your feeder accessible from a raised landing area only. Otherwise, you will find yourself attracting some unwanted pests, such as rodents like mice, and worse still, rats. Continue feeding until early spring, when food becomes plentiful again. If you cannot serve them insects, then try to give the birds suet, a form of beef fat. You can buy this cheaply at pretty much any meat market, so it won't cost you an arm and a leg. As well as being nourishing, suet also has the advantage of not freezing during cold weather. Many birds will also enjoy crumbs, nuts, and seeds. You can even serve them boiled potatoes and hard-boiled eggs, provided these are finely chopped. Other foods you probably have lying around in your store cupboard may also be used. Try feeding them raisins, figs, dried fruit generally, biscuits, boiled rice, and so on as well. If you want to build a birdhouse or nesting box, I would encourage you to proceed by all means. These offer fine protection, especially for the smaller and more vulnerable species. You can buy ready-made nesting boxes and shelves for a very reasonable price these days. Alternatively, if you fancy doing a little DIY, they are not very difficult to build either. Most birds prefer houses made of rough slabs of wood covered with bark, which to the birds feels quite authentic and natural. If at all possible, try to match your birdhouse to the surroundings as well. So, if you paint your birdhouse, be sure to use a dull grey, green or brown colour. The simplest type of birdhouse to construct yourself consists of a hollow branch nailed to a tree. When you are erecting your birdhouses, be sure to place them a good distance apart from one another. Few bird species enjoy nesting in close proximity to competitors of their own kind. Cleanliness is vitally important too. Your bird nest should be cleaned out yearly to make room for new nesting material to be brought in by their seasonal tenants. Early autumn is the best time to prepare your birdhouse, as the new season's chicks will have hatched and flown the coop, so to speak. Once cleaned, your birdhouses will be ready to welcome their spring visitors once they return to your neighbourhood early the next year.
That is the end of section 4. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
That is the end of the listening test. You now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the listening answer sheet.